Well, look, Africities is always the big feast of the municipal movement in Africa, in the continent. And being in Africities is always being here at the cradle of humanity, and you feel that energy, that innovation, the creativity of the Africans is totally alive. We also feel our membership very alive, critical, concerned, but also hopeful. I also bring with me a lot of very, very empowered female leadership. I'm very impressed. The other thing that I would bring with me this time is that I think we have been more daring. I have been to all Africities, except for one, I think. And I think this time we are being more daring in terms of tackling the difficult topics. So migration, street children, inequalities, right to the city, climate change. So yeah, a very mature edition and a very inspiring one, because really the attendance is great and the representativity is wonderful. Well, look, migration is not an easy topic, and we are not naive about it, okay? I mean, we have a huge membership. UCLG is a world organization with over 250,000 members around the world. So as you can imagine, not everybody thinks the same. Not everybody experiences migration in the same way. The strategy of the organization, however, is to create a positive narrative on migration, make migration a normal thing. Migration is a human right. People move because they want to look for opportunities, because they want to give the best for their children and to their future. And that doesn't mean that managing that movement of population is not challenging. Of course it is. And so we need to do it well. It needs to be orderly. We need to have clear rules. But above all the levels of governments need to cooperate on this topic. It is no longer possible to look at this issue from a very far away perspective of the national governments. For national governments, migrants are numbers. They are percentages. For us, migrations, they are our neighbors. They are people. Those that need to use our service provision, that share schools with us, they are us. And so that's the narrative that we want to create. At the same time, we are promoting changes in legal frameworks so that the roles of national and local governments are clear. And we are also trying to find technical solutions. But for us, it is very important that we look at migration further than an economic issue, a humanitarian issue, and that we also make the difference between migration and refugees. These are two different things. So it's not easy, but we're getting there. And I think creating narrative, creating a joint vision is extremely important. And Africa is leading the way, because we should not perceive Africa only as a departure continent. Africa has a lot of migration within Africa as well, and we like the perspective that the continent of Africa is defending. They don't want to be the gatekeepers for the global north, and I think that's right. Because of what I just described, because we think that migration cannot be a conversation that is split between the recipient countries and the so-called departure countries, because migration is much more complex, and in fact migration is also very important within countries, and we need this to be a global agenda, a global universal agenda. It's not an agenda of the global north or of the global south. It is an agenda for everybody. It's our responsibility as global organization to lead that discussion and to make sure that the visions of Africa, but also of other continents, are integrated in the implementation of the Global Compact on Migration that is going to be adopted here in a few weeks' time by the member states of the United Nations. Gender equality has been on the agenda of the global organization forever. Okay? We are a 100-year-old movement. We were created in 1913, and it has always been on our agenda. But I have to confess to you, it's not easy either, and we are not there yet. When you look at the pictures of Africities, when you look at the podia of Africities, we still have a long way to go. We need to work on equality. We are tackling equality now with an all UCLG-A strategy, which aims at promoting the political participation of women in local decision making, promoting women-friendly policies at the local level, but also, and very important, we need to transform our policies institutionally on the inside. Because let me tell you a well-known public secret. UCLG still does not reach the 25% representation of women in its governing bodies. Okay? We still have difficulties meeting that target. But we have promised ourselves that we will not only try to meet that target, but actually elevate it to 30% in the coming elections next year. So two axes of action, a political international action promoting equality through the participation of women in local decision making, and institutional. We need to get more women on board. We need more women. And for that, REFELA, the African Organization of Elected Women, is a critical partner. We took a very bold decision around 1.5 years ago. We decided that we wanted the Sustainable Development Goals to be at the heart of our strategy as world organization. And in the years, our strategy is decided in a very participatory manner, and during the discussions that led to the development of that strategy, we had many members saying to us, why the Sustainable Development Goals? This agenda is, they decided it in New York. Somebody decided. They didn't ask us. It's not our agenda. Our position, from the UCLG leadership, as a collective point of view was, it is our agenda, because guess what? We are working on this every single day. You, members, mayors, councillors, you are working on achieving the SDGs every day in your streets, in your cities, in your schools, in your towns. You are working on that. There is no SDG that can be achieved if you don't provide adequate service provision, if you don't involve the people. Leaving no one behind and nowhere behind means that you at local level need to make this happen. So that's our argument. And we took a very bold decision to say, you know what? That agenda that heads of state decided over there in New York, it's our agenda. And we are the actors, and we are going to make it happen. And, when we were in the process of the adoption of the SDGs, we had doubts whether we had to push for a cities or local governments SDG, because we thought, look, all the SDGs are ours. So why do we need one standalone? We realized we had to be put in the map of development, and I think the SDGs are doing exactly that. They have put us in the map of development, and we are going to make it happen. So Member States, United Nations, be aware, without us, it's not happening. For me, UCLG is more than an organization. For me, UCLG is a movement. And so what I want is for members all over the world to feel represented, to feel they have a home and they have a place where all of their voices are going to be heard. And even that they have a place where they can fight for their beliefs and their visions, and they can exchange ideas. So the only thing I can wish for is for more and more members to continue supporting us, to join us, to help us define the agenda of the future. And if there is an evolution that I would look for, is a greater dialogue with the national governments. You know, we are doing really well in terms of membership. We are big. We are very big. It's not that I want more members. What I want them is to be more active, and I would also like that national governments are no longer afraid of us and that they see us as true partners. So I would like to see united cities and local governments sitting at the global table at the UN, not to feel important, but to actually help the UN take the right decisions that take into account the interest of the communities. That's what I wish for.